There we are. Sometimes I don't know if it's going to work or not. Hi, everybody. I need to turn this down. There. I'm going to wait a few minutes to see if anyone comes by. And while I'm waiting, I'm just going to go ahead and keep cutting out my pattern so that will be done. And I don't have to spend everyone's time doing that so much. So what have you been up to, Melody? I've really been enjoying watching your jelly plate videos. I still haven't had time to get mine out and play with it, but I've been collecting items to use. I actually have something to send to you. It's just a piece of Hi, Arlene. Thanks, Arlene. Yeah, Melody, I'm kind of in advance of that because I have to send mine off so soon in order for it to get there in time. So I have a lull right now and can get some other things done. And I'm actually just, as I work on things and as I'm cleaning things out, I am packing items to sell as I go. So hopefully that will work a little better than being in a frenzy trying to fill some boxes to get sent off. How are you, Arlene? You doing okay today? She sounds like she can't stay, but I'm glad she dropped by. Is my sound all right? I'm sitting a little off from the microphone, so I hope it is. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I've been wanting to start this for the last 2 months, and I just kept putting it off because there's been a lot of things just going on around here. And but I want to make a series of ornaments for my Christmas tree. We got new ornaments last year, and there's a lot of white and then some like royal blue colors that are really pretty, but they don't show up very much. So I just decided I'm just going to do a lot more white. And I've made these ornaments before. I've been making them for, well, whenever this book came out, which I think was in the 80s. Let me see what it says in here. That's when I started, is when this book came out. 1984. I think it's when it, oh, nope, here is, yep, 1984, I think is when this book came out. And I checked this morning, this book is still available for anybody who's interested in doing something similar. It's called Scrap Savers Gift Stitchery by Sandra Lounsbury Foos. And she has several books. Here's another one, just another issue. And she has one for Christmas and, just different ones. And I've made a lot of things out of these books. This is actually not the book we're going to be using. We're going to be using this one, which is a Farm Journal craft book, Scrap Saver Stitchery book. And you can see it's been well used. And it came out, when did it come out? 1977. So I've been making out of this book for quite a long time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make Christmas ornaments that are made out of felt. And I'm going to try to show the picture to you here. So you can see they're just little stuffed ornaments. They're really cute. They're not very hard to make. And always before, I've made them in colors. I tried to find one this morning. I know I have some gingerbread men, but I couldn't find it. So you can make tree ornaments out of them. Here they've made a hanging banner out using the same patterns. So they're really cute. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them in all white. So I'm going to try to do one a month. I'm going to do 2 to start with because I'm already behind. But I'm going to do at least one a month. And that way at the end of the year in December, I'll have at least a dozen to put on the tree. And that should be plenty. Now these are a nice size. They're not small. They here's the teddy bear. You can see how big he is. Now he'll look a little smaller than this once he's stuffed and everything. But this is the size of them. So they're a good size large ornament. They're probably like almost twice as tall as the largest ornament I have on my tree, or largest ball I have on my tree. So anyway, I'm going to do it in white. I'm going to use beads. I'm going to use lace. This is my plan. And embroidery stitches, real simple ones. They're not hard to make. Usually I make the little bears. There's also a gingerbread man, which in here somewhere. He's not really part of this, but there's one in it's either this book or the other book. It's this one that I also use. Here's the gingerbread man. I've probably made over 100 of these to sell, and they come out so cute, and I love the little heart cheeks. So he'll be one too eventually. I'll add him in because I really like him. But this book is a Farm Journal craft book, Scrap Saver Stitchery book, and it's also by Sandra. Here's her name. Sandra Loonsberry Foss. I would say Foss, but it might be Foos. And you want the one, if you're going to use these patterns, you want the one that has the lion on the front, the lion placemat. So there are, and these books, if you like doing this kind of thing, they have a lot of patterns in them. Here's one for, look at this. A sleigh and all the reindeer. Cute, cute, cute. I'm thinking about doing one of those too for my mantle. I don't know, but just depends. And here's like a little pot holders, the bread and the lettuce and the cheese and the meat. So there's just a lot of cute little things in here, and you can see I've got all kinds of patterns that I've cut out before to use. Let's see, what else have I made out of here? I did make the placemat. I did make that for a little boy one time as a gift. There's a big octopus. And I did make these little washcloth puppets. They turned out really cute. See, that's full-size patterns. And I did make this. It's a tooth fairy pillow. Hi, Tammy. Nice to see you. And I did make this, which is a quilt and a pillow as a baby gift. So I did use this book quite a bit. Now here are some other little animals that go with a horse and a pig and a chicken that go with the barn. The barn is it's like a little bag, and you put the little animals in there. The door opens and you can stick the little animals in there. I have made that. So there's just there's plenty of things. Oh yeah, and where are those placemats? I made these other placemats too, which I always really liked. Probably in the front someplace. Sunshine placemat, 74. Oh, these are kind of hard to see, but they are so cute. So if you like that kind of thing, these are really nice books to have. I'll just look through this one really fast. It has some similarly made items if you like that if you like that style of whimsical things. Here's some little wreaths. Now this book had, and here's some more ornaments that are hearts. I have made some of those. Little Santas. Now see, this can also be used. I think this is one of the ornaments too. I think it's the same thing. Aprons, pot holders, pig placemats. A tote. That's a little bag. That's a tote. Quilted. Placemats. This one's more home kinds of stuff, you know. Here's a little, she has this attached to her measuring tape. And then it's also a pin cushion. Here he is. Isn't he cute? I've made pin cushions a lot out of the round ones. And I'll take round felt and I'll put like these ornaments on top of it, like a Christmas tree and different things. Here's some little cupcake, the cupcake bake shop. So it's like a little box looking thing that you can put the little bears in. The bears are really cute. Those are made out of fabric. I've made the zebras. And these little aprons are really adorable. They have a pocket in them, and then the animal goes in the pocket. So there's a pig and a mouse and a bear, and I think that's a duck. A baby bag, little diaper bag, tote. Little pocket friends. The small one, this little girl has them in her hair. Well, this is the actual size. It's really cute. Little baby. And then here's a little purse to go with it. Here's some more wash rag thingies. Baby bib. Here's a big peanut with a zipper and the little elephants fit inside, plus a nice bag. Now I've made these, but instead of making them as egg cozies, I stuffed the bottoms and made them stand up, made the bottoms flat so they would stand up. So both books have a lot of things in them, and I've enjoyed making a lot of the things in them. So back to this. Like I said, I did see these books online for as little as $5 from resellers, and that's very reasonable. I don't remember how much it was when I bought it, but this was back in the 70s, so you know, think accordingly. It probably wasn't more than $7 or $8 because I probably would not have spent more than that on with the economy that I had at the time. So I'm going to lay that aside. Okay, let me see. Friend me on Melody. I don't know what that is, Melody. Bye, Arlene. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, these books are really neat. Okay, so what I did first was I had to make the patterns because my old patterns had gone by the wayside at some point. I used to make the ones I used a lot, like the bear, or I mean like the gingerbread man. I'd make them out of cardboard because I would just draw them out, you know, when I was making a lot of them. Oh, it's a Facebook account. Okay, I'll try to find it. So I have all this stuff. Is very much like, and I think that's what it is. It's like Pellon. It's like an interfacing. You can see it's pretty stiff, but you can see through it. Now, this friend of mine from, I haven't seen her in a long, long time, but she was sort of like an acquaintance that was related to a friend of ours. And she worked at a factory, and she gave me a lot of stuff. They allowed them to take home the scraps of what they could not use. And I'm pretty sure they made filters for one thing, and some other things like that. So she gave me piles of heavy canvas. Uh, it's not, it's like, I mean, like a thick pile, like a pile this thick of canvas, but it might only be this wide, and the width of a piece, like at least 60 inches wide. So it works really good for a lot of things. And I have some projects coming up I'm going to use it with. She also gave me a stack. Now this piece is wide. Most of the time it's half this size. And she gave me a good stack of that. I probably used about half of it already. And it also works well. A lot of times I'll use it when I'm painting in books and stuff. It works well, to keep stuff from getting all over. And then later on, I can scan it and use it as a page. And there's other things you can do with it. But it's basically like a Pellin. So I use this as my, sometimes to make patterns with. And you can see through it. So it's really easy to, excuse me. It's really easy to do. So I can just lay it over here and draw it out. Now I could also scan this and glue it to a piece of cardboard or something, print it out and glue it on to make a nice heavy pattern piece. But I like this because it's sturdy enough. You can write, or you can draw around it to trace it. You can see through it, so you can trace anything onto it. And it's thin, so it's not it's easy to store. Sometimes I'll just stick it in the book. Actually, you shouldn't do that, but I do it. And so I like using this. Sometimes I get a little stingy with it because I'm afraid I'm going to run out, but it works really well. Also, you could bead on this. Just pretty much anything you would do with a heavy or with a stiff interfacing, you could use this with. I don't know how washable it is because I've never tried that. Since it's some kind of an industrial thing, it might not wash well. I don't know. But I think they used it somehow in filter making. And so, it could be like air filters or something like that. But I don't know what the deal was. But anyway, that's what I use. So I've just traced a couple of them for now. And I'm in the process of cutting them out. And I'm going to do 2 today. So I've got the bear started, and I've got, what else do I have? I have the mouse. I didn't start yet. Where's the rest of it? Here it is. I got the cat. So here's the little cat that we're going to do. Here's how he looks like when he's done, and he'll have a little bow. And these are all the little pieces. Because normally you would be doing this in different colors. So, you'd want a piece for each color. But I'm going to still use all the pieces. I'm just going to do it in white. And I'm hoping this, I haven't tried it in white before, so I'm hoping it's going to work well. I'm so fortunate. People give me stuff a lot because they know that I do craft things, and they don't know what to do with some things. When Granny passes, or Great Aunt Lucy passes, or whoever, they've got buttons and fabrics and all the things that people used to always have because everybody sewed. Most everybody sewed. And so I get a lot of that. I get a lot of jewelry, old pieces of jewelry. And I take them apart and use them for different things. Unless it's just something that's totally useless, But most of the time, everything is usable. And if I don't have a project going on that currently that I know will work with, I know that eventually it will work with it. So that's one reason I have so much stuff. Well, actually, Melody, each piece will be blanket stitched onto the base. So it will stand out enough, I think, being white, that you know, it'll be seen. It won't be a problem to see it, I don't think. Here's the tummy, here's the foot. Oops. So each of these little pieces will get embroidered on there. They don't really take all that long because they're small, but sometimes they get a little fiddly, you know. But I just use, and you could, excuse me, you could even just glue them on, but I like to stitch them on. I think it looks nicer. And I want these to last for a good while, so, and to look pretty on the tree. So now what I have done is I think what I'm going to do, instead of using embroidery floss, I'm going to use pearl cotton, and that will show up really pretty too, because it's a little thicker than embroidery floss. Here's a paw. Here's his ear. I'll have to cut these. I don't know why I didn't get that, but normally for their eyes, I use a hole punch and punch a hole out of the felt and do it like that. But, okay, so I've got these two cut out. We're going to put, here's the little mouse, is cute too. I'm going to put him away for today and see if I can't cut these out. Now there's different ways that they can be cut. I can draw around them on the felt. My felt's got fuzz on it. I can draw around them on the felt with a pencil or a pen. Of course, that's going to show. So when you cut it out, you have to make sure you cut that away. This has a dirt spot on it, but I don't think it's going, well, it might show through, you know. I'm going to have to avoid that little spot. But so you can draw them. I better get a drink. Losing my. Hi, Josie. Excuse me. What was I going to do? Oh, pencil. Sometimes the felt is really hard to draw on because it's fuzzy. So let's try it and see what happens. I'd rather just draw it on there because it's easier. But I don't want to leave dark lines either. Nope, I'm going to have to do it like this. And the other thing about this is you can pin through it pretty easily. I just need enough to keep it in place. And I'm going to do this. Okay. And felt does not have, well, it has a little bit of a grain. It doesn't stretch as much this way as it does this way. But for the most part, for this purpose, I don't have to worry about the grain. It's not going to matter. So I can just lay the pieces any way I want to on there. And these pieces I'll just hold on as I cut them. And I found in the past that it really matters what kind of scissors you use. If you're doing a lot of felt, if you're cutting a lot of felt is hard on your scissors. And if you're cutting a lot of felt, you will eventually have to have them sharpened, or they'll just start sort of, well, I call it grinding. I don't know what the real word would be, but where it just sort of doesn't cut like it should. It just sort of rags the edges. The best scissors I ever used for cutting felt were these. I think these are surgical type scissors, or, you know, that they use at the in the emergency room or whatever, for bandages and stuff. A piece of tape on there. And I had several pairs of these, and they worked really good for cutting felt. And I would get them sharpened ever so often, and they just worked really good. I think because it has the longer leverage of the scissors, that it was easy to get around, you know, in the small spaces. Now, these are not sharp, they're dull. So it's taking an effort to cut that properly. But these were the best ones I ever had to use for cutting felt. These are my Ginger scissors. If those of you who are familiar with sewing scissors, Ginger is a very popular brand of sewing scissors. These are still pretty sharp because I haven't used this pair that much. I have another pair just like them that I used for years and years. And you can see how loose they are. They're the same scissors, but these, let me see if you can hear that. And these are really loose. So these have been relegated to crafting, and they're still plenty sharp to cut with. These are a little sharper, but I'm going to stick with the crafting ones because I don't want to dull up the other ones. So, you know, you just cut them out, and I don't know, I might have to change my mind. See, what happens is when they get dull, they start pushing the fabric this way or that, and they don't cut as well. I'm going to go back to these because I don't want to have to take forever. And these are so nice. They just cut right through there and cut right to the tips. Gingers are great for that. Some people might like to use like embroidery scissors or smaller scissors. Whatever works for you is what you should use. So the cutting out takes a while. Hi, Lori B. I'm up to making ornaments. They're all going to be white, stuffed, embroidered, lacy, buttons, whatever. If I can get one of them cut out. Now, normally I cut these 2 at a time, and I forgot about that because you got to have 2. They're going to be stuffed, so you have to have a front and a back. And I think what I'll do right now is I don't want to have to cut 2 of them. It'll fit. Fooey-dooey. Barely. Yay. It's a little harder to cut 2 at a time, but that's what we're going to do. So I thought, you know, I enjoy doing I like doing blanket stitch. It's easy and it goes pretty fast. And that's what I've always done on these. And so I thought, well, I wanted to make some of the ornaments. And then I thought, oh, I should make them all white. You know, since my tree has white now. So then I thought, well, this will make a nice sort of a series that I can work on every month. And then by the end of the month, I would have it done. I mean, by the end of the year. So that's what I'm doing. Now you couldn't cut through both of these pieces of felt with dull scissors. It just wouldn't work. And when I say dull, I mean not really sharp scissors. You know, some scissors you can use dull for a long time and they still work pretty good. But when you get used to using scissors that are really sharp and cut well, when you go to using just a regular pair of scissors, it's like, what's wrong with these things? I guess you get spoiled with how sharp and how well they cut. My, what are these other ones called? My Guggenheim. These are Guggenheims. And yes, they're big. They cut like nobody's business. These will cut through 5 or 6 layers at least of heavy canvas. It will cut through 10 or 20 even sometimes layers of um, cotton, like, calico or whatever. I don't usually cut that many with them, but it will do it. Every time I pick this up, I start cutting at a different spot. What have you been up to, Tammy? You been busy? You think after the holidays that things will slow down, but there's always something going on. My daughter had surgery on her shoulder Friday, and she is having a hard time. It's very painful. So I've been over there a little bit yesterday, and my husband is putting in a bathroom in the basement. Yay! He's been working on that every day because he was off a few days last week, and that's coming along. And just things here and there we have to do. I really would rather draw my patterns on, because then you don't have to, work around the edges and stuff. You just cut it out. It just seems easier to me. And if this was on colored felt, I'd use an ink pen and draw it on there. Because usually you can just turn it over, and you won't see the ink lines. But on this white, I'm pretty sure that they would show through. So we'll just have to do it like this. And I probably won't be cutting them out on every string that I do of them, because it's tedious for you to sit and watch. But I just wanted to show on the first one, in case anyone wasn't sure how to go about it. Oh, a Valentine swap. Is it cards or what is it? I did a few swaps at the end of the year. And then I realized, as much as I like doing it, I have no place to go with the items when they come. I'm trying so hard to, streamline things a little bit. I like Happy Mail. I like getting it. I like sending it. And I have a book that I'm making just for that. So I have a place to put things. Because, when people send you stuff, you want to have it where you don't want it to go in the trash. You want to have it where you can enjoy it, where you can show it to other people when they come by or whatever. So I'm just making a book for that kind of stuff. Okay, there he is. So I've got 2 layers, one for the back, one for the front. And one thing about felt, as long as it's pretty close to the line, it's not going to be a catastrophe if it's just a little off, because once you do the stitching around it, it kind of evens it out. You just don't want huge discrepancies. If 2 things have to go over top of each other, you want them to match pretty well. I'm going to save some of these to use for the little stuff. Okay, there's the tummy. I only need 1 tummy. I need 2 of these paws. Let's see if I can do that. I'll be so happy when the bathroom is ready and usable. Hi, Keisha. I know you're busy. Thanks for coming by. It'll be nice to have a water supply. I've got this big container that has a little spigot on it that I have down here for when I need water. But then when you get rid of the water, you have nowhere to go with it. So then I have to carry it upstairs. So that's, Okay, so there are those. Let's see if I can do these little bitty one. Little. Hi, Janice. And Allison. Well, you didn't miss too much, Allison. All I'm doing is cutting out these little pieces, which are kind of persnickety. It's a good word, persnickety. Okay. And then these. And that should be it, mostly for the bear. And I think I'm probably just going to work on the bear today, and then I'll just work on my so you can see the process, depending on how late it gets. But then I will work on my mouse between now and the next time I do this. So, this is one of those things that you have to do before you can do the fun part. You got to cut everything out. I used to sit for hours and cut these things out. Oh my goodness. Your hands get tired, get really tired because you're doing these little bitty things and you're holding your scissors real tight. And you can see already, I have a mark right here on my finger where I was holding the scissors. So that's another reason you want sharp scissors. Okay, there's all the felt fuzz all over the black. Get rid of some of that. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Okay, now I'm going to, let's see, let's use this. I'm going to use a tiny dab of glue, and you can't use much because if you do, it will show through the felt. It's just enough to hold it in place, and you don't really even have to do that. And let me see if I can we'll see, Keisha. Let me see if I can change my not focus. What am I trying to say? My how close you can see things. Good grief, my zoom. Some days I don't have the words. If it lets me do this, I'll be surprised because it usually won't let me do anything to my camera while I'm in anything because it won't find my camera. Oh, camera not available. Oh, it's probably not gonna. Let's see, maybe. Yep, that's gonna have to be. All right. So I'm just going to use a little bit, and here, this is the pattern. I draw all the lines on there because it acts as a reference. Well, I have this fancy dancy 922C that I have to, and I forget to do it. I have to do all the focus, or not focusing, the Zooming before before I turn on StreamYard. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, you know, it's an irritation. So I never know if it's going to let me Zoom while I am in the stream or not. I don't really know what the answer to that is. So I'm just putting just barely any glue on here just to kind of make it stay where it's supposed to be. That glue is not what's going to hold it on there. It's going to be all stitched. But this just keeps it in place. It might fall off, who knows, before I get it stitched. And like I said, you don't have to do this. You can hold them in place. You can pin them in place. I got that wrong. It goes like this. Come on, buddy, get with the program here. Okay, there. Still not right. There. A little better. And here's ears. And you can also like do these like right before you get ready to stitch it down. Wait until then, because I might cause these to fall off as I'm stitching the other parts. We'll see what happens. I didn't have Fabri-Tac back in the 70s, so I don't know. I have made these more recently than that, but a couple years ago I made, like 2 dozen of the gingerbread men. Okay, so there's that. This can be put aside. I'm going to put the pattern away. Or at least over here somewhere. Okay, thanks, Keisha. If I open it at the bottom, it doesn't recognize the camera, so there has to be, and like I said, sometimes I can do it. So there has to be something I'm not doing right, I'm sure. Okay, so here we are with that. Now, I'm just going to do this teddy bear pretty plain. So, but with beads. He's going to have some beads on him. But I'm just going to kind of do him plain because I want people to get the idea of just how a normal one looks, you know. Now, where did I put my, oh, here it is. Find a needle in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blanket stitch all of these little pieces on. And where did that needle go? Here it is. This is my new needle book that I made that I'm really liking. I got a bunch of those. I'll be sending to Keisha probably before next month's sale. So there'll be a few of those available. This is a mess. Can't blame this on anybody else because I'm the only one who gets in here. So I must have made it a mess or something. I don't know. Probably got that way down the bottom of the sewing box. But we're not going to mess with it. We're just going to put this away. How's that? Problem solved. Hi, Deb. Bees? Did I say bees? I might have said bees. You know, I used to couldn't understand how people had so much trouble threading their needles. Oh my word. In the past 3 years, my eyesight has changed, gradually changed to the point where it just, over the edge of seeing as well as I did. I have had a time. I've been doing some beading on these books. See how this has beading all the way around the edge of it. See? And some other beading. So I've been doing beading on these needle books, and it has been a nightmare trying to thread the needles. Oh my word. So now I feel sorry for people who have troubles threading their needles. Let's see. Now remember, the back of this isn't going to show, so you don't have to worry about, keeping it pretty. And all I'm doing is just a little, I'm going to try to do anyway, little blanket stitch all the way around the edge. And what a blanket stitch is, I've shown this before, but I'm going to show it again. Well, Keisha, I could get the needle cases, Deb. I'm going to sell some, yes, at Keisha's Market, but that'll probably be next month because I don't have them ready. Keisha, regarding the needle threader, it would help on this size of a needle, but when you have a size 11 or size 12 needle, the hole is so tiny that you cannot use a regular thread in it. Even a piece of like a sewing thread, just regular sewing thread, is sometimes difficult to get through there. You almost have to use a really thin beading thread. So anyway, you move over a little ways, and this is like 1/8 of an inch, I'm going to say, or maybe, how much is that? Let me see. Yeah, about 1/8 of an inch over, and then about 1/8 of an inch into the edge of what you're sewing down. And then you take this thread, the thread that's connected, just go around it. You don't wrap it around and around. You just go around one time, pull your thread in this direction, and it will come down. You want it to be snug down to there. This is going to, I just realized this is going to be kind of hard to see, isn't it? Because it's white. But, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get that zoomed in. Well, Deb, I'm going to have a few of the bigger ones like mine, and then some smaller ones, so that there can be some different price ranges, because I like for everyone to have an opportunity to find something that they can afford. So I'm going to be doing different sizes. So this is basically what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the stream, is sewing on these little circles on this bear. Oh, how exciting is it? I'm pretty excited for this weekend sale. I think there's going to be some really neat stuff. I'm not only a seller, but I'm also a buyer. So I get really excited seeing what's coming up. Now, if you don't like doing a blanket stitch like this, or something of this nature, let me see if you can see that. It wants to focus, but then it doesn't. Let's see. Yep, it's not gonna work. Okay. Well, we'll just have to get that Zoom turned up next time. Sorry about that. But what did I start to say? I don't even know. That's how fast I lose track these days. Oh. For patterns for what, Allison? For these ornaments? I cannot sell the patterns for the ornaments because I'm sure it's still copyrighted, but you can find the book still. Even though it's an older book, you can find used copies for around $5 or $6 is what I saw this morning. Now, I didn't look at the shipping, but for the price on them, most of them were like $5 or $6. If they do well. Oh, I missed something here. I got to scroll back and see what it was. Can't be missing stuff. I get. If you trade me a bear. You know, Keisha, did you ever hear of teach a man to fish? You could make your own. And you can make them whatever color you wanted. But you know I will. If you think you have to have one, I'll make you one. But anyway, oh, I know what I was saying. The book. Yeah, you can still find the book. And it has quite a few good patterns in it. She also has a Christmas one and a bazaar. I think they're both hers, a bazaar book, which might have some cute things in it, but I haven't seen those and they didn't show any of the pages, so I can't really tell. You might even find this at the library, actually. Yeah, I would love to sell kits. I think that would be cool, but, you know, it's copyrighted. I can't do that. I will, however, I have sold the ornaments before. So actually, see, this doesn't take, once you get it cut out, it starts going pretty fast. Before you know it, you've finished. But I am going to put some beads on this one. And I think I'm going to do that as I finish. I know I'm going to put some around his tummy for sure. So I like the way this pearl cotton is looking. It looks nice. Looks real nice. You know what? My problem at Keisha Sales is I'm always really lagging. So, if I can get something, I'm happy. If I don't, I'm happy for whoever got it. No sense in fretting over it. You can only do what you can do. I tried to talk her into giving me a preview so I can just tell her what I want, but she won't do that. I really didn't, but I know she wouldn't. So it's nice for everybody to see. The item I want is gone by the time I even look for the me. Then I misspelled. You know what I do, Josie, is I put in the me. As soon as the last item is sold, I put in the me. Or I put in, as quickly as I can, I put in ABCD or whatever. And then I leave my finger over the button waiting for her to put the go, and I hit it. And still, I'm like 5 or 6 down the line. I can't get it fast enough most of the time. But that's just part of the way it works. We can't do anything about that. And I know people get excited, but there's no sense in it. I mean, it's not something that's going to change our life that much if we don't get it. So, I mean, that's the way I look at it anyway, you know. Like, how desperate do I need another piece of paper right now, that particular piece of paper or whatever. Although sometimes there's things I'd really like to get. See, that fell off. Okay, he's just going over here. So I'm almost around this. And it is small stitches, so, you know, it's very relaxing to do. Because you're just, you know, concentrating on one little space, doing the same stitch around and around, and it just kind of is relaxing. Now, I'm a detail-oriented person. I like to do things that have detail. And so it does not make me nervous. Some people are not that detail-oriented, and it makes them very nervous to do this kind of thing. So you just kind of have to find what you're happy with and go from there. All right, now I'm to the end. I'm just going to go in here, knot it at the back. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. And then I'm going to do some beading on here while I'm at this point. So here's how he looks. See his little tummy? There. Okay. So, find the beading needle here. Uh-oh. I'm wondering if I brought any beading thread over here. Hold on one second. Gotta run to the other side of the room. Well, I'm not going to run, but I'm going to try to go fast. Okay, this is not beading thread. It is machine embroidery thread, so it's pretty thin. So I'm going to try this. Sometimes it's won't really have that much strain on it, so it should work. You would not believe how tiny the hole is in this needle. We could be here all day doing this. Come on. Technical difficulties. Let's see. Try this one. Come on, bud, get in there. Embroidery machine thread is very soft, so it's hard to get it stiff on the end. And I don't think, I wasn't thinking about this, but I don't think I have any white beading thread. Come on, baby. There we go. We're going to do long thread. I have to be, so I don't have to do it again soon. All right. So. Okay. Don't lose that. This is how I have most of my beads in these Craftmates because they stack really well and they hold a lot. And, you know, I usually do it by color or type of bead, but mostly by color. I do most everything I do by color because that's how I work. And one more thing I have to get. I can't believe I don't have this stuff with me. Okay, that should be it. Okay, this is a beading tray. It's an old one that I made a long time ago. It's starting to get worn off right here. But I have a lot more of them. And what this basically is, it's a metal serving tray from the dollar store. And it has velour blanket glued onto it and over the edges. And these work so well. When I'm beading a lot, I might have 3 or 4 of these with the project on it because I go from project to project. I like to do different things. And so I've made a bunch of these for myself. They're really easy to make. They're really inexpensive. And they work really well. The velour kind of holds the beads in there. I mean, they're going to fall out if you dump it over. But, you know, it kind of holds them in a good way for you to get them. So you can just dump the beads on like that. And you can really just sort of shake see what happens? You shake it. And it has a tendency for the beads because these are just regular seed beads. They're not any special kind. But seed beads they're sort of like a donut. They're flat on the hole sides. They're a little flatter than they are on the rest of it. So when you shake it like this, they kind of land so that the hole's facing up. And that makes it easy to go in and just pick up a bead. They don't all turn facing up, but most of the time they're facing up. So you can just poke down, pick up your bead. So that works really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a line of beads around the outside edge of his tummy. And I knotted my thread, and I just came up right on the edge of the tummy. See where his tummy is? Now I'm going to pick up 2 beads. And then I'm going to put them all the way down to the end of the thread. So, you know, they're right at where the thread comes out. And then my needle, oh, you cannot see this, can you? The white is going to be a problem. The needle goes right down at the end of the top bead. And doesn't get tangled. So now you have 2 beads. Oh my gosh. Here. You have 2 beads. Now your needle comes back up between the 2 beads, right against the edge of the tummy. Goes out. Then it goes out this second bead here. It's hard enough for you to see. I can barely see. And then you pick up 2 more beads. And you do the same thing. Now, after you've done this a lot, you can eyeball it and know where to go back down. But if you don't know how to do that, then you just squish your beads down so that they're flat. Go down in front of them, and then come back up between the last two beads you put in. And you just do that all the way around. I'm going to try one more time, see if I can. Y'all just sit tight for a second and let me, my screens might go blank. So sit tight for a second. Well, phooey, didn't work. All right, sorry to waste all your time there. Okay, sorry. I can't mess with it right now. It's just not going to cooperate. I thought it was working, but it didn't. So, the beads are on the outside of the circle, Josie. There. See? So now I'm coming up between these two beads. And I'm ready. Oh, come on. I hate when things like this happen. It irritates me. Probably does you too. Nope. It's not going to cooperate. So, so I've come out the two I just put in. I'm picking up two more beads. And I'm going down again. You can drop those beads down. So I've dropped the beads down. Just won't work, will it? Okay. I'll quit trying. So I've dropped the beads down, and I'm going back to the back to secure those two beads. And then I come up between those two beads again. And come out the first one. And what this does is it lines the beads up in a row. So you're seeing the edge of the bead. You're not seeing the hole. The thread goes through the holes to make the beads straight, or to make them in an even line. And when you put the two beads on, and then you come up between the two beads and go through the top one and add the next two beads, and that makes them stay in a straight line. If you're just putting one bead on at a time, you might get a straight line, but more likely they're not going to be exactly straight. But if you do it this way, you get a nice smooth line going all the way around. So I'm just going to eyeball this and go on. So I'm putting two more beads. And next time I do this, we're going to be sure that everything is up close and easy to see. Now, realize, I am working on something pretty small with the beads. So, are you laughing at me, Keisha? Oh, yeah, we got to work on it. It's kind of silly to try to show people things if they can't see it. Goodness. Whoops. Oh, my beads is turned because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I skipped a step. But yeah, if you do it this way, you'll keep the beads in a straight line. Now, there's another way to do that. I think this is generally considered like a back stitch type stitch, because that's kind of what you're doing. It's just like if you're sewing and you do a back stitch, you keep going back halfway halfway back on the stitch and start a new stitch. So it's kind of what is happening here. But there's another way to accomplish this. Of course, you could do it one bead at a time, but there's another way to do it. And that way would be to string several beads. And I usually do, because beading needles are long, you could put a lot of beads on there and still have room to hold it. So oftentimes I'll put like up to 12 beads when I'm doing that. I'll put up to 12 beads on there. But it just depends on what you're working on. If you're working on a long straight line, you could put 12 beads. So I put, 2, 4, 6. I put about 8 beads on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I'm holding the thread and I'm using it as a guide. I'm making sure these beads are all pushed down where they're supposed to be and laying them alongside of the tummy. And then I'm going to go stitch down at the end, and that will sort of hold them in place, but they'll still be loose. They won't be stitched here. And then I'll go back and I'll take a stitch over between each bead or every other bead to sort of couch it down. And sometimes that's called a squaw stitch. I'm not going to do that this time. I usually do it, if I'm doing bead embroidery, I usually do it when I have a long area that I'm trying to fill in with lines of beads. Okay, I just took those all off. And because it works well. Or if you want the beads to, or I use it when I'm making a design where I want you to see the lines of the beads, then I'll do that because it's faster. But if I'm doing an anchor, something to stitch off of, I always do it like this because it anchors it, and you can build on top of that with other beads. So there's different times to use different ways. Even if you just do one bead at a time, and if it ends up looking a little, wonky, like it's not a straight line, and you want it to be a straight line, just take your needle and thread and go back through that line of beads. And that will help straighten it out some if it's, if it's not too bad. If it's not stitched down too tightly, then that will straighten it out some. But the best bet is to do this kind of stitch where, you can do a line. Now, I could do this with, let's say, four beads at a time, and then I would go back and go through. I would put 4 beads down and come up between the. What am I trying to say? I would put 4 beads down, and then when I come up, I would leave 2 beads. So come up between 2 beads in the middle, and then go through 2 beads and go add my next ones. But I like to do it like this because I think it makes a much nicer look. Makes it much smoother. And I know it's hard for you to see this, so I'm hoping that you get the idea at least. It's like showing somebody how to do an embroidery stitch with them having a blindfold on. It doesn't work that great. But so let me show you how this is looking. See? I think you can see it enough to tell. I don't know how to make that focus better. I'm sure there's a way. Oh, Keisha, same question, babe. You got an idea for me? Yeah, it is a lot of work. But like I said, normally I don't bead them. I just do the stitching. And you saw that went pretty fast, really, because it's just a little space. And then, of course, you have to do all around the edge. But I want these to be a little bit special because these are from my Christmas tree. So I'm taking a little bit more time with it. And you could just, you could do it as simple or as difficult as you want. These little patterns are so nice. I mean, they're fun to do, and you could do a lot of different stuff with them. I've made them as ornaments. I've put them on pillows. I've put them on sweaters. What else have I done with them? I've made them into little dolls, with little clothes to go on them, just cut out of felt. And if you don't want to go to all this trouble, you still can just glue the pieces on. That will work fine. It doesn't look I think it doesn't look as cute, but it still works. You could still do it. And I've tried it a couple of different ways. I even have done the stitching around the piece before I put it on here, and then glued it on there, and that worked too. Keisha, you just made me remember that I should have made a grocery order, and I totally didn't. I don't know what we're having. I know I have some pork steaks in the freezer. I don't know if I want to mess with them. Oh, Josie, you sound like us. I've been wanting Chinese so bad. And our favorite place is they're only doing takeout, and my husband will not do takeout. They do delivery and takeout, and he won't do either one. He just has a fit. So there's another one in town that everything they have, it's like a buffet, and everything they have is really good, except their rice is horrible. I don't know what they do to their rice. It tastes like it came out of a cardboard box that's been in the freezer for a long time, and their noodles are the same way. And but everything else they have is really good. But I won't go back there because their rice is horrible. We've gone out a couple of times last week, but trying to stay home because he wants to work on the bathroom, and I don't want to take him away from that. Mm. I'd rather have the bathroom than get to go out to eat. We do go out a lot though. Sometimes when it's just two of you, it's almost as cheap, depending on where you go, to eat out. I really have been cooking more this past year than I have in a long time. But I'm not a very good cook. I've probably said that before. I made meatballs and fried potatoes the other night. That sounds like a weird combination, but it was pretty good. I could eat soup every night. Wouldn't bother me a bit. But, gotta feed the man. Gotta feed the man. And the other night we had fried eggs and biscuits. I think we had sausage with it. Sausage? Yeah, we had sausage. I ought to make a big pan of gravy. Gravy and biscuits. That sounds really good. Chicken fajitas. Now, I was thinking about chili, Josie. I was, but I don't have the stuff because I forgot to make my grocery order. I do Walmart delivery. I've been doing it since they started it, and I really like it. For a while, where we lived before, they didn't have it yet. It was when it was just starting, but they had pickup, so I did that, and I liked it too. So far, we've been pretty happy with the service, except for one time when this elderly gentleman, I know he was older than me. I'm not so sure he'd get around any better than me. Normally, they bring them in the house for me. They only have to take them to the door, but normally they bring them in for me. I didn't even ask him to. He looked like he was on his last leg. I thought, oh, you poor guy. It's probably the only income he could get. Meatball soup. I made soup last week. It had just vegetable soup with Polish sausage in it. Now, I like potato soup. I could probably eat potato soup every day. I'd probably die from it, but I could eat it every day. You have to have a strong gastro system to have potato soup every day. Are y'all really bored yet? Chili and baked potato. That sounds good. I have one of those, what do they call them? They call them one pots. I don't have that brand, but one of those pressure cooker things. I use that thing all the time. It makes the best hard cooked eggs you can imagine and corn on the cob. 5 minutes cooking. Well, it takes a little longer than that because, it has to get up to the temperature. But eggs are amazing in there. If all I made in there was hard cooked eggs, I think I would buy one. And I do all my pasta in there now because it cooks in about 5 minutes. So that was a good purchase. Oh yeah, Keisha, if I could eat potato soup and tomatoes for the rest of my life and that's all, well, maybe milk, but I would be totally happy. Fresh tomatoes out of the garden. Oh my word, I eat them so much that my mouth gets sore when we have them. I love tomatoes. Meatball soup. Oh, I got some chicken quarters last week. Was that last week? Yeah, last week. And cooked them on the smoker. Boy, they were good. I ate those all week. I had them for lunch. They were very good. We got our smoker last summer, and we've really used it a lot. It's the kind that's like a grill or a smoker. It's just like using your oven because it has a thermometer on it, and you could bake cakes and everything else out there. I'm not that fancy, but sure makes some good stuff. Well, Keisha, all it's done for me is make me hungry. I haven't had any breakfast. I had coffee. Okay, so we're going to put beads on his belly. And that might be the only sparkly thing he gets. I might bead around the whole outside. That's a little faster than this. But might. I like these clear beads. They have a nice sparkle to them. I have just the opaque white ones too, which I think will be, these are like not chalky, but they're just like an opaque white. They don't have any shininess to them. They're kind of matte, I guess is the word I want to use. What else do I have? I have some bigger ones that are clear and have a finish on them. And then I've got some little bitty ones. And then I have some bigger ones. Plus just some really clear ones that are smaller. I probably have more white beads over there. It's the only ones I picked up. Potatoes and leeks. I put a lot of onion in my potato soup. My sister-in-law has been wanting me to make some onion soup. Gosh, it's been so many years since I made onion soup. Because it gives my husband, he had to cook so many onions, the whole house reeks of onions. It gives him a headache, so I haven't made it in a long time. But I think what I'm going to do is when the weather gets warm, I'm going to cook the onions out on the smoker, on the grill. Because they'll cook out there and cook them down, and then I could finish it up in the house, and it won't be so bad. I try to do whatever I can to keep him from getting a headache, because he gets bad ones. And have a blood test. Huh. We have no doctor right now. It's really stupid. The hospital closed our doctor's office down. He was part of the hospital system. And because they said he didn't have enough patients. Every time I went in there, the place was packed. So now we don't have a general, or what do you call it, primary physician. I need to get a new one. So we found one that we thought we would like, and he's not taking patients. So silly. I used to have to go to a kidney doctor because I have kidney disease. It's doing pretty good now. Stays pretty steady. But I was going to him, and he would order blood work. And I'd get that and go in and wait 2 hours to get in to see him because he was always so backed up. And then I would go in, and he said, "Yeah, looks pretty much the same. Do what you've been doing. Come back and see me in 3 months." I'm like, ugh. So then I talked to my primary doctor, and I said, "Can't you just do that same test?" And because I had to do testing with him too for other things. And then just, I said, "Can't you just do that when you do my other testing? And if I need to go see him, tell me." He said, "Sure, we can do that." So, and they closed his office. How do you make your meatball soup, Josie? Is it just like vegetable soup with meatballs in it, or does it taste Italian-y, or what? And my daughter is an excellent cook. And boy, she can make Mexican food like you wouldn't believe. Of course, they're down there 5 or 6 times a year on the border, and all their Mexican friends that live at South Texas border, they're down there for like a week at a time, and she gets lots of lessons. I keep turning this like this. The reason I do that is because I could pull my thread without tangling around all of these things. That might look strange. I hadn't thought about that, but that's what I'm doing. I'm just pulling it out to keep from tangling. Something else I'm doing is, which you can't really see because it's on the back. So I'm like doing this to pull my thread tight, but on the back, my finger is back here. So when I pick up 2 beads and go down through the fabric, the felt, my finger is back here working the back of this needle. So once I get my beads snugged down to where they're supposed to be, I don't even think about it. You just take a hold of that thread, and that holds them in place. Otherwise, they kind of have a tendency to flip around, and you're trying to keep them in place until you go through the second bead again. So see, I'm using this finger back here to determine to tangle up. It's because my thread's so long. Because I didn't want to have to rethread it. I usually work a much shorter thread than this. Okay, so if you're having trouble keeping things tight, you remember you've got fingers back here that you can also use with what you're working on. Okay, Keisha, thanks for stopping by, babe. And I'll talk to you later about this silly camera. Have a good day. Fix something good for supper. So obviously, there's a huge possibility that as I'm doing these ornaments because some of it's going to be slower work. I may not finish them while I'm streaming, but I'm going to try to just do one stream a month regarding the ornaments. I'll be doing others, but for the ornaments, and so a lot of it I'll be doing off screen. But then I'll bring them back and show what's finished and tell how I did it. But yeah, we definitely need to, or I definitely need to work something out because white is hard to see in the first place. Oh my goodness. Josie, I'd have to get my son-in-law to interpret for me. He's fluent. I always say he's fluent in Mexican. He's fluent in Spanish. I've said before, my daughter and son-in-law have a travel company where they do day trips and, um, 3 or 4 day trips sometimes. They did their first international. They've only had it for a year. And of course, what's happened this year, they haven't been able to do much of anything because of COVID. So, you know, so they did this trip to Cancun. And of course, they're not going to go to Cancun without my husband because he's their group host. So he had to go. Aaron had to go, my son-in-law, because he speaks the language and he's the only one of us who's really fluent. Now, my granddaughter, she does pretty good. She can understand most things, but she's not as fluent as he is. So the whole family went, all 5 of us. I have one daughter, one granddaughter, and a son-in-law. So all 5 of us went and had a great time. Well, their next trip is in May. But there's also a trip in going to Waco, Texas in May, a several-day trip. And if the Waco trip doesn't get enough trippers, then we'll probably be going to Cancun also. But we don't know yet. Pretty much for sure be going next October for the next, or maybe even next February. I think they're trying to do one in February and one in October or something similar to that. But hopefully I can go on each one they go on. I love going there to the resort. I could just stay at the resort and be totally happy. I don't need to go on any excursions or anything like that. This last time I rented a mobility scooter, and I was in the high grass. I'm telling you, I had a great time. Just totally taking care of myself and not having to bother anybody. That left my husband to do his job instead of worrying about what I was doing and how I was getting around. So it worked out great. So I will always do that. Mexican style. Yeah, I like Mexican food, but I'm not a person who can eat hot, spicy stuff. They make fun of me. But I just can't do it. I like the flavor, but I can't take the heat. Okay, Deb, hopefully next time you'll be able to see a little better. Thanks for stopping by. And hope you do come back again. I enjoy seeing you here. Okay, I finished going around the belly. And I'm going to go back now and stitch these other pieces on. So. Okay, he's already threaded, so I'm putting him over there. And then I'm going back to my pearl cotton. Okay, move this out of the way. Hope I don't knock it over. Let's go up here and do these ears. I'm just going to be doing the same stitch. Now, if you don't like doing the blanket stitch, you could just do little like whip stitches around it. You just want it to look neat, and be close enough together to hold everything down. Felt is pretty forgiving, and if you're using the same color, it's really forgiving. But I do like this pearl cotton. It's looking pretty nice on here. And that machine embroidery thread worked pretty well too on the beads. This goes a lot faster than the beading, that's for sure. Well, who all's still here? Josie's here. I don't know who else is still here besides Josie. This kind of work is nice to have a book going to listen to. It also works well when you're just sitting watching TV or something like that because, there's not too many things to keep track of. Needle, thread, scissors, and your pieces. That's about it. Till you start stuffing, then you have to have a little bit of polyfill. But you can do a lot of these in a short amount of time if you just get with it. I think they're going to be really cute on the tree. And I just want to put a little bling on them so they'll sparkle with the lights, And that's the idea of it. Okay, there's that ear done. I don't believe I'm going to bead the ears, or well, just the belly is all I think I'm going to bead. It looks pretty. Now, whoops, he has a little bow, which I didn't cut out. Where's the bow? He has a little bow that it folds up like this. Anyway, it folds like that, and then the thread goes around the middle, so it makes a little bow, and that will go on his neck. I don't know if I want to put some beads on it, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. No, I won't bead on the back. The back will just be plain. It'll just be solid on the back like this. But I am considering beading around the edge of the whole thing. I might do that with some tiny white beads. I don't know. Just have to think about it. I'd like to put lace, some kind of lace on each one, but I guess I could have put lace on his tummy. But I hadn't decided that yet. Ugh, that was wrong. Okay, so it's Allison and Josie's here. And Deb is here. I think I'm here. Well, fooey. Now, see how easy that needle threaded? That's why I'm used to being able to do the beading needles, and I just can't do that anymore, I guess. Poor wise. And I just got new glasses, which I really have. Still, I'm not used to them. They're just different. So let's see, what else am I doing? I'm working on these now. So I'll probably take time and try to cut all of these out so that they're ready. So that I don't have to do that every time. And so I'm working on these. I'm working on my needle books. Trying to get a bunch of those ready for Keisha for next month. I'm working on some tassels for journals. I'm working on about a dozen of those. Then they'll be for sale. Bye, Melody. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be over Wednesday to watch your jelly plating if I can do it. Something's going on that day. Oh, that's my nail day, but I should be back in time. Thanks for stopping. So anyway, I'm working on these tassels. I got the beaded part of them done. The beads and the charms and stuff are ready. Now I'm working on the actual tassel, trying to decide how I want those to look. And I'm still clearing out some things. I've been working over in the sewing beading area. So there's been things going on, and I'm sure I'm going to have to help sand the drywall when that time comes and paint the new bathroom. My husband does not like to paint, so I try to do the painting and the staining and the finishing. Just not his favorite thing to do. And I have some shelves to paint that he made me that are over the top of my door and windows in the kitchen dining area. So I can put I have a collection of white stoneware creamers and little pitchers. So I'm going to put those up there. I'll probably get those painted this weekend. And he made some really cute little bookends for my daughter. Look like little houses. So I'm going to paint those for her and stain them a little bit. Oh my. So we're not short of projects around here. Okay, ear number 2 done. So see, when you actually get started on the stitching part, it's really not that long because they're little bitty pieces, so it doesn't take, very long to go around them. There's his little ears. Well, Allison, it's like that pretty much all the time, Oh, and this Saturday, I forgot about that. This Saturday, girls are coming over for some wedding alterations. Not even sure what all needs to be done. I haven't even seen it yet. So she's getting married in May. And I told her don't wait till the last minute. But that's what I do. I do that as a gift, whatever wedding sewing they need done. They pay for the fabric or the dress or whatever, and I do the sewing, and that's my gift to them because that's a pretty hard, expensive thing to pay for. Alterations, they're not cheap. And it's a way that I can contribute and do something needful at the same time. I've done quite a few weddings at our church, sewing for the weddings. I've made like 6 bridesmaids' dresses and the mother's dress, and I've done that for a couple weddings. Made the actual dress, bride's dress. I made that. Made the bridesmaid, or not bridesmaids, the flower girls. Made their dresses. One wedding, I made all the vests for the men to match. And just, like that. But it's nice if I don't have to wait till the last minute to do it because, I'm getting old. And I do things a lot slower than I used to. Oh. So all I know is she said the dress is too big, so we'll have to see what needs done. I hope it's something easy. I'd almost rather make a new dress than alter one. Alterations are a lot harder on something that's already made. If it's anything more than a hem, wedding dresses they're made, they're usually made very well with a lot of stitching and linings and stuff like that. You can't just adjust part of it. You have to adjust the whole dress. So I hope it's an easy one. She also said the black bridesmaids are probably going to need some too, but they didn't have their dresses yet. So the more I can get done now, the better. When my daughter got married, she's a big girl like me, and when she got married, she ordered her dress from somewhere in China. I don't know. She ordered it through something, and it came from China. And it was in, I'm not kidding you, it was in a box about this big. It just about this big. When she opened that box, that dress just puffed out of that box like it was escaping. And I had to alter it, the bodice and the sleeves. I had to actually put different sleeves on it because the sleeves were not well made. And the first time she crossed her arms, they were going, it was a tulle. So the first time she crossed her arms, I told her, I said, this is not gonna, you're not gonna be able to wear this dress a day with these sleeves. And the sleeves needed altered anyway. So I said, I'm just gonna replace this fabric with something similar that's stronger. So I had to do the sleeves. And the dress, the whole bodice was beaded. The sleeves were beaded. It had sort of like a flare at the bottom of the sleeve, and it was all beaded. So there was a lot of beading involved. And I think that I know at least twice I had to take the bodice apart and rebead it because I couldn't get her to my house to try it on enough. And I was guessing at some of it. And every time I thought we had it, nope, it wasn't right. So finally I said, look, you're either going to come over here and you're going to stay here until I get this figured out, or you're not going to wear this dress. So we finally got it finished, and I still wasn't exactly happy with the way the bodice and the shoulders fit, but it was pretty much the best we could do with what was there. And it looked real pretty. But that was a chore. It was, I did it lovingly, but it was still a chore. I'd rather make something from scratch. Much easier. We didn't get it. We couldn't get it back in the box. That thing, I'm not kidding you, it just popped out. I was like, look out. It was a pretty dress though. And she didn't pay that much for it. I told her, I said, I would have paid to make the whole dress instead of having to go through this process. And then our pastor's daughter, she got married. Well, it's been a while now. She's got 3 little boys now. But the dress that she found was really pretty, and it had like a sweetheart bodice, no sleeves or anything. But it was a beautiful dress, and she just didn't feel like it was modest enough for her taste. So I just went in and added lace and beading and what have you in the upper bodice, up to a little ways up. It wasn't up to her neck, but, it did look a lot more modest, and put sleeves. And it sort of looked like she had I was going to say like a bolero, but not really. It just, oh, yeah, I love making this stuff. I don't sew near as much as I used to, but occasionally I like doing something like that. I remember one time I made a prom dress for a girl. It was real pretty. The pattern was pretty, but it had like the skirt was all layers and tulle and satin and all kinds of stuff. And it was very, very pretty. Well, I don't know what happened, but one piece of the skirt I cut out totally wrong. I don't know what happened with it, but I had to go and find fabric to replace it. Boy, was that hard. We don't have that many bridal places around here. But we finally got it fixed, and it looked real pretty on her. That's been a long time ago. I think her daughter is in college now. I just can't get over how fast time goes by these days. It just seems like it's gone. My daughter's in her early 40s, and I still see her as a little baby walking around, It's just, now her daughter's 13. It just goes by so fast. And here I am doing the same kind of things I was doing when I was 20. Same sewing thing, same patterns. Everything comes around, I guess. That dress sounds pretty with the beading. A couple of years ago, I took my wedding dress out and decided there was no reason to keep saving it because there wasn't anybody who really was going to want it, you know. When I got married, I was quite a bit smaller than I am now. But it's still, you know, I talked to my granddaughter. I think she'll probably want, when the time comes, she'll probably want me to make her, if I'm still able, make her dress. But she's still young. So she didn't really want it. So I took it apart. And I've got a box full of lace in there now because it had a lot of lace. So someday I'll use it for something. Okay, where are we? Okay, we got the ears and the paws. Now we got the feet. Thanks for hanging around, Alyssa. Or Allison. I looked there, I thought, Alyssa, no, that's not right. Thanks for hanging around, Allison. And by the way, I think your name is really pretty. I hope you come back again. And yes, on the next one, I'll show these two finished ones. The cat and the bear will be finished when I do this again next month. So stop by. Oh, that's great, Josie. Yeah, yesterday I went to the chiropractor, which only takes like, 15 or 20 minutes at the most. But I drive 40 minutes to get there. And it's just a minute from my daughter's house. Where I see the chiropractor is just about a minute from my daughter's house. And we used to live in that area too. That's why I still see him there. But she had surgery on her shoulder Friday. So after I left the chiropractor, I went to the drugstore and picked up some things she needed. And then I went and picked up some lunch for her, for them, all three of them. And then went and visited for a little bit and stayed around long enough to take the granddaughter to her. She's teaching pickleball at a private school. Now, bear in mind, she's 13, and she used to attend this school until this year. And her and another lady are going and teaching them pickleball during PE, and her dad also. Sometimes he goes. So she needed to go to that. So I hung around until she was ready to go, and then I took her so he didn't have to get out and could stay with my daughter, who was kind of having a hard time yesterday. So that wore me out, just that little bit of stuff that morning. So So I was ready to sit down and relax when I got home yesterday. It doesn't take much. Wears me out. Then my crazy brother-in-law, he calls me and tells me jokes all the time. And he's a hoot. So he called me and he told me a joke. And then all of a sudden we were disconnected. And I thought, well, did he just hang up on me, or were we disconnected, or did I do it, or he do it? What happened? So I called him back and I said, hey, were you done talking, or you just didn't want to talk anymore? Or are you just being rude, or what? And he says, oh, I was done. So I said goodbye. And I said, well, I didn't hear you say goodbye. I thought you just hung up on me. I said, so then he didn't say anything. I said goodbye and I hung up. Oh my. Snowed here a little bit the other day. And then this week it's been so windy. Oh my goodness. And the cold just goes right through you when it's so windy like that. I got this new mat last week. I really like it. I don't see my brothers very often. They live fairly close, except for one of them. He's in Texas. Well, last time I saw him posting, he was in Texas. But we're just not that kind of, we don't dislike each other or anything. We're just not that kind of family where we're always palling around with each other. And of course, I'm the only girl, so, but I talk to him on Facebook every so often. Once in a while, I'll see one of them in town. But one time it's been a long time ago, I talked to him so seldom. One time I got a phone call, and the person said, hi, Deb, this is John. Well, my youngest brother's name is John. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so excited to hear from him. I thought, oh, hi, John, how are you? And we talked and talked for a couple minutes. And of course, we have nothing in common as far as our lifestyles and stuff. We're just different. We don't travel in the same circles or anything. So, there's not a lot of common stuff to talk about. But we were talking, we've probably been talking for at least 10 minutes. And finally, he said something. And I thought, what? That didn't make sense. And so I said, is this John? And he said, yeah, this is John. He said, who do you think it was? I said, well, you just said such and such, and it didn't make sense to me. He says, well, is this Debbie? And I said, yes, it's Debbie. And I said, it's Debbie Farrell. And he says, oh. He said, well, I thought I was calling my sister. And I said, well, I thought you were my brother. We'd been talking all this time. And we were talking, but I guess we were just not talking about anything specific to us, just things in general. And we didn't even realize it. We were not talking to he was John and I was Debbie, and we thought we were brother and sister. And well, that was pretty funny. So we talked for another couple minutes and then oh my goodness. It's kind of sad, that we didn't realize sooner, but I hadn't talked to him in a long time. And I guess I was excited thinking it was him, and I wasn't paying attention to his voice or whatever. But it was sure funny. What are the odds that, we'd have the right names? My brother-in-law is so funny. He worked for Chrysler for a long time at the Chrysler plant here in St. Louis, and he retired from there. And now he works he's 5 years younger than my husband. Now he works as a janitor at an elementary school with the little kids. And he loves it. He absolutely loves it. He just loves the kids. So every day he draws a picture on a bulletin board. It's like a marker board, and he draws different pictures, cartoon pictures on there. So like at Thanksgiving, he'll draw a turkey saying something funny or doing something funny. And every day he does this. And those kids just absolutely love him. He is he is hilarious. I've known him for 50 years and he still gets me. He'll start telling the story. He'll say, Dad, did I tell you what happened to me the other day when I was at the gas station at Casey's? And I'll say, no. So he starts talking, telling me this big tale. And then at the end, it's a joke. He's been telling me a joke. And I'm thinking that it's really him. He's been doing this to me for as long as I've known him. And it gets me every time. Every single time. Because he just puts it in the middle of the conversation. It's like, oh, just tell me something happened. And it turns out it's really a stupid joke. When you get the two of them, him and his brother together, oh my word, they're so full of bull. Oh my goodness. Okay, so these pieces are done. And at this point, I usually do the face. So let me see. Oh. Now I have to think, do I want, if I'm going to do the whole thing white, how should I do the face? Should I do it white? Not sure. Not really sure. I'm going to punch holes in this so I could draw the circles. And these will be other little circles that get stitched on. What I'm wondering is, what do you think? I know, but we didn't recognize our voices because we hadn't talked to each other in so long. And I think I was just normally I notice things like that, but I think I was just excited because I hadn't talked to him in a while. So I think that's why I didn't notice right off. But something he said, or somehow he said it, or something really made me stop and realize that it wasn't him. Oh my. I guess, what do you think? Do you think I should stitch the everything white? I think I should. I could either do that or I could do them like real pale colors. I don't know. I'm cutting this out so I could use it kind of like a stencil. And what I'm going to do here on the mouth, I'm going to cut just a little ways below the mouth. Yeah, I think all white. Let's see what I've done. I cut it just below the line. And now I'm going to cut it on the line. So that makes, can you see that? That makes a place where I can draw a line for his mouth to transfer. And the same thing here. I'm just cutting a little sliver out of there. And then I'm going to cut out the nose. Okay. So now I have a little stencil I can follow to put on the face. And I've decided I'm going to embroider the cheeks on instead of stitching them on with, stitching a piece on of it. I think that'll probably work. So now I could just lay this on here. I wonder what I did with my transfer pen. I got a transfer pen someplace. I'll have to scare it up. So now I'm just going to draw my line. Hope I'll be able to see it. Just need an indication, really. That's not much of an indication. Felt is really hard to draw on because it's so fuzzy. And again, I could use a pen. I'm just afraid it'll show. I just need a little indication on here that shows me where to stitch, I think. I think that's enough. Can you see it? So that's how you make the little face, a stencil. Now, like I said, there's so many different ways you could do this. You could do this out of fabric. You could do it on this felt. You could, instead of sewing these on, you could cut these holes out and stencil through that with paint, even. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oops. I'm going to start him at the edge of his mouth with a French knot. You push it through and you wrap it around a few times. And then pull it down. And it'll make little dots at the corner of his, dimples at the corner of his lips, mouth, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to do like a little running back stitch for that. And I'm making kind of big stitches because I'm going to go back and whip stitch around it. I'll show you that in a second. So I'm just making running little back stitches. Then I'm going to make another French knot at this end. I'm going to try to anyway, if I can get a hold of things. I'm wrapping that 4 times. If I were doing this with embroidery floss, I'd be using more strands, 2 or 3 strands. Now this is getting too short, so I'm going to end it off. I try to work with the thread that is a length that's easy to work with. Sometimes it means you have to thread it more often, but okay, now I'm going to come back up at the end of the mouth, and I'm going to do, I think this is called a, oh, I forgot what it's called. Oh, it's called a whipped something, overstitch or something like that. But I'm just going back over where I just stitched, and I'm going just around the thread is what I'm really doing. So I'm going under the thread and around it just to make a thicker line so his mouth shows up better. So really the first part, you're just making a like a stem stitch sort of, and then you go back over it with this thread by going around the stem stitch that you did. And it just makes a neater looking line and thickens it up some. Okay, now I'm just going to go right on over to the cheek. And I'm going to do a satin stitch. Got hung up in the fuzz. Yeah, you can do a back stitch. It's pretty much the same as it's kind of like a stem stitch also, but just some kind of stitch that covers the whole line, and then you just go back and you go around the whole line. You're not going through the fabric, you're just going around the stitching. I like the way it looks. I've seen it used a lot lately. I've been watching some embroidery videos, and they seem to use it a lot. And it does work and makes it look smoother, I guess. I guess that's what you're asking. So I'm going to satin stitch his cheeks, and then I'm going to do a little, like a back stitch, whatever, around it. Excuse me. Allison. I can't get my name straight today. Josie, I'm surprised you're still watching. As hard as it is to see. Really not happy with this pencil on here. I think I'm going to have to find my transfer pen, or not transfer pen, whatever it's called, marking pen, disappearing ink pen, whatever they call it thing, and get it out, use it. Okay, so I've done the satin stitch part on the cheek. Now I'm just going to go around it. And I'm kind of doing these stitches small because it's a small little spot. And if you want the stitches to look smooth, you have to do small stitches. My hands are so dry that this pearl cotton wants to grab onto the dry skin. Keeps getting stuck on my fingers. Oops. Well, I appreciate that you're enjoying it with me. And anybody else who's out there lurking around or who has come and gone. I try to stream when some other people I know of aren't streaming because I like to watch their stuff too. But it's really hard to find a time to stream when there isn't somebody already working at it. So sometimes you just have to go ahead and do it. Between the sales and the hops and all of that. All that stuff that we want to see. I don't know how long I'm going to stay downstairs today because it's chilly. I've got my heater, but my feet get so cold because it's a concrete floor. Stained concrete floor. But that stain doesn't do anything to keep your feet warm. Okay, so if you can see that, probably not. I've stitched all around the cheek. My granddaughter has 2 cats, brother and sister. They are so beautiful. They have yellow eyes, and they're just so pretty. And they're like monkeys. Well, I say monkeys. She had the male she had the male cat yesterday, and he was laying on his back in her lap with his feet sticking up, and she had hold of his hands, and she was rubbing his tummy with his hands, and his head just lolled over where he had no worries at all. He was just enjoying himself. She wags him around. And it's always, Grammy, look at this. Grammy, look at this. And she sends me pictures. She takes pictures of them all the time and sends them to me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's nice. She's pretty crazy about them. I like cats. I just don't like dealing with litter box and the hair. Yeah, I can't stand the hair. I have a schnauzer, and she doesn't shed. So there's days I wish she did use a litter box. Hmm. So I did one eye. Now I'm over at the nose. Well, it's as long as I'm sitting, I can put up with it. But yeah, if I had to stand on it all day, there's no way. There's no way I could do it. I really just can't even stand that long anyway. So I think my husband's decided to put some kind of laminate in the bathroom, the new bathroom. But he's already said he's not doing anything else in the basement. But he did say if I wanted flooring in my area that he would do that. But I don't think it's necessary because, and basically, I don't want to have to worry about getting paint on the floor, you know, or anything. I mean, I try not to, but at the same time, I don't have to worry about it too much. If I spill something, I can wipe it up, you know, and it's not going to make me feel bad. Well, I don't know what I've done here. somehow. There. I had a thread that was sticking up. Stuffed animals. When I sit here crafting for hours at a time, and if I don't have to get up and go find something or whatever, my knees get real stiff. And then when I go to stand up, I can't. I have to, it takes me a minute. And then it takes a little bit to get my knee in place because my knees are shot. And so I can't just jump and run. But, I can still get around. So as long as I can still get around. I mean, we've talked about it. Because I can only do these stairs about twice a day, and that's it. And we've talked about, when time comes that I have to, I'll just ride my scooter around or whatever it takes to get down here. We talked about getting a golf cart at one point. And we have a side-by-side, but that thing, I can barely get in it. It's hard to get in because I can't turn certain ways. And I can't put my knees certain ways, so it makes it difficult. But I've got this new scooter, so I can certainly ride it around the house and come in the garage. I mean, in the basement. There's usually a way to accomplish things if you want to do it badly enough. I was trying to remember how that Teddy Bear Picnic song goes, and I can't remember the tune. Thinking about this teddy bear. Well, his nose doesn't look great. Let's see if I can fix it a little bit here. I'm still looking for another dog. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Some days I think there is no way I'm getting another dog. And other days I think, oh, if she only had a companion, she'd be so much happier. And they could play with each other. But little schnauzers, they need a lot of attention. And she gets a lot of attention. And she's kind of learned that when I'm down here that I'm busy, And sometimes she'll come down and there's a sofa that's a couch that's right over from me. She'll come down and sleep on that while I'm crafting. But I can't get out and run around with her. I can go out and sit in the fenced area and throw the ball and stuff like that, but I can't go take her for a walk. So she gets her energy running in the yard, in the fence, and she likes that pretty well. She goes outside, she hits the we have a little porch going on to our patio from the kitchen. And I don't think she even hits the bottom steps. I think she jumps from the first step and lands on the ground. But she's running as soon as she leaves the door. You know, when we bought this house 3 years ago, that was a goal, was to have one floor. But we're in Missouri. And in the area we're in, you can hardly find a house that doesn't have a basement. And my husband has a workshop, a wood workshop that he keeps, does things in. And I have, well, right now my craft stuff is a little less than half the size of the basement. So it's a little less than half the footprint of the house. And it's a 3-bedroom house. And so I need a lot of space. Now, we thought about building, and I had it all figured out for one floor, no basement. But I don't think we really could do without a basement, tell you the truth. Not for storms and stuff necessarily, but just because of the kind of stuff we have, we need the basement. So this basement was totally unfinished. It didn't have any finish at all on it. It had had a couple of electric light, just bulbs, sockets on the ceiling. And that was it. The rest of it was wide open. So it took about a year before we actually built my room out. And he didn't have to put up, he didn't really have to do regular framing. He just had to do enough framing on the walls to put up the pegboard. My whole room is pegboard because it's easier and cheaper than to do drywall. And I wanted the pegboard anyway, so it worked out well. 3 sides are pegboard, and then the other big side is open to the rest of the basement. So he's put up pegboard through the whole room. He did my ceiling really pretty. Put up lots of lights. We actually had an electrician come and do that, so he didn't have to do it. And it's nice. I'm real happy with it. Lots of electrical outlets. The only bad thing is there's no bathroom down here, so it's, sometimes you have to run, try to run. So now that's getting put in. But now he said that he's not going to finish anything else down here. So he does have one more. Hi, Tammy. Again, thanks for hanging around. It's not very exciting, but I'm having a good time. There is one more thing he has to do, and that's put the wall between his workshop and the rest of the basement to cut down some on the dust. He does a really good job. He always cleans up really well, and he has a dust collector, but there's still dust. But I'm really glad that he used to have his shop was way down behind the house, down a big hill, and I had to drive down there to get to it because I couldn't walk. It was a big steep hill. I couldn't do it. And so he had the whole big shed for his workshop. But I'm glad that he's down here now. I like him being down here close by, and where it's warm and he doesn't have to start a fire to keep warm and stuff. So he decided he liked it down there too, I think. And so now his workshop is down here in the basement. So he's at one end and I'm at the other. And of course, he's usually at work when I'm down here. But it's been kind of nice the last few days. He's over there hammering and sawing and stuff while I was in my space. He's talking about building one of those sliding barn doors to go between the workshop and the rest of the basement. They're not hard to do, but if you buy the hardware is really expensive, the rails and stuff. So we'll see what he comes up with when the time comes. Hopefully he'll do that pretty soon too. And then my job's going to be straighten all the stuff out. That's down here. Because there's an area where we have an old TV and the Wii game for kids to play when they come around. And so I think what's in my head is, who knows if I'll do it, because I can't do things like I used to, but I think at least I can paint the walls, the concrete walls, so they don't look as, if he's not going to finish anything else, then I will go ahead and just paint the walls so they'll look a little nicer. Not really worried about it being that nice, but he's fixing the bathroom up pretty nice. It's going to have the ceiling and everything. He's not just leaving it, all unfinished, sort of, with just in a box. He's actually finishing it out like a regular bathroom. Really nice. Not going to put a shower. I thought he was. And he said no, he's not. So something about the way the water situation is or something. But it'll be nice to have a place where I can go wash my brushes out and what have you. Hi, Bella. I started to say it must be getting close to noon because I heard her moving around. I guess she's been napping. I think I'm going to stay on here till about 12:30. That's another 15 minutes or so. I see you. Yeah? What's going on? What's going on? You come to see Mom? You want to come see me? Oh, all right. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Fuzzy Duzzy. Need a haircut. Come here. You want to see what's going on? Oh, it's some kisses for your mom. Oh, that's nice. She needs a haircut so bad. You want to sew? Look up here. Look up here. Look here. You're too fuzzy wuzzy. Yeah. You need a haircut really bad. Mommy better get you an appointment. Okay. Be a few more minutes and then we'll go up. That's true. You can do a lot with a small space. I saw something when I was looking around on YouTube this morning where someone took a corner in their bedroom and had it built out to a craft space. And it was really cute. It wasn't very big, but she had her, so the corner was like this, and they had the workspace built in the corner. And it looked like there was just enough room to go in there and sit down and turn around, to different areas. It didn't look real big. And then she had shelves all above. And I think there was a cutting machine, and I don't know what else in there sitting on the shelves. I mean, it looked like a very nice little workable space. If you don't have as much stuff as I have, then you got to have half the basement, But I only have one area right now that I want to use, but I haven't been using the equipment. And sometimes you just wonder, should I just get rid of that, But, yeah, it's not hurting anything right now, so it's going to stay there. I want to do more metal working. I like working with copper, making bracelets and stuff, necklaces. But there's a lot of hammering involved. And I had to quit doing it because I was having some severe problems with my shoulder and stuff. And I just haven't got back to doing it since all that's fixed. But I'm going to do it. I still want to do it, so I'm not getting rid of it yet. I hope you can hear what I'm saying. I'm just kind of mumbling to myself, I think. That's what happens when I start concentrating. My voice gets quieter and quieter. Okay. Yay, the face is done. His eyes look pretty little. I think I'll make his eyes bigger. Or I wonder if I just put like a bead on his eyes, what would happen? What would happen? Let me see one of these. See what would happen. I like that. I don't like that. Let's see. Have to try things, right? No, I don't like it. Don't like that. So, just going to do a few more stitches instead. We think we need so much space. Our houses are so much bigger. Even what's considered a small house nowadays is so much bigger than what even our parents lived in. My husband's parents, when we got married, they had what was considered a decent house. They had 2 bedrooms with the bathroom, or 2 bedrooms, bathroom in the middle, then the living room and the kitchen. That was it. That was the whole house. The kitchen had an eat-in area. So the table was in the kitchen, no dining room. And it was a nice little house. Well, it had a basement, a full basement. When my husband got out of the service, he got out and didn't have a job. It took about a month for him to get a job, find a job. It was pretty bad here at that time. There was a lot of layoffs and stuff. So he finally got a job. But during the first 3 months, when he got out of the service, we lived at his parents' house with a 9-month-old baby. Now, remember what I told you, 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a living room, and eat-in kitchen. That was the whole house. And then the basement, full basement. At that time, my husband's aunt, his mother was the youngest in the family, and her sister lived in the basement. They made her a little apartment down there, just like 2 rooms, bathroom and little living and bedroom area together. So she lived down there in part of the basement. When he got out of the service, we lived there for 3 months. It was Mom and Pop, my husband, myself, our baby, his brother and his wife, and his aunt. 8 people living in this little 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom. Well, the aunt had a little bathroom downstairs, just a half bath. But we did it for 3 months. And it was wonderful that we had a place to stay while we were getting situated, after getting out of the service. But it was a long 3 months for me. I was the only one that was home all the time. Everybody else was going to work. But, we still managed. We lived there, all of us. We ate there. We lived there. We managed to all fit in. Now, we couldn't have done it without the basement, of course, but we still did it. Nowadays, that would be considered really strange because, it's just different. And that's only been 50 years ago, almost 50. And just think back in the pioneer days, they'd have 6 or 8 kids, and they'd be in a 1-room cabin. And they got by, they got by. We think we need so much more than we really do. Look at all our craft stuff. Oh, my word. We have so much stuff. And I'm the first one to, be glad that I got all my stuff because I enjoy it. But could I live without it? Yeah, I could. I'd find some way to be creative, but I could live without it. So I'm just adding one little line around one side of the eye, and then I'm putting some eyelashes on to make the eyes look a little bit bigger. Just 2 little eyelashes. I know for one, I'm spoiled. When they say spoiled Americans, that the majority of Americans are spoiled, we are. And we're selfish. I totally believe that. Because I know that I am. And I see other people around me that are the same way. So I try not to be, if I can help it. Try to be reasonable. Try to share, as much as possible. Okay, that looks better. Okay, now he's ready because that's all. I'm not going to do any more beading on here. At least I don't think I am. So he's ready to be stitched together. So, and what I normally do is I'll start here at the neck. No, wait, see, how do I usually do this? Oh yeah, I start here, leave this part open. So I start here, go around the ear, come down, go all the way around the arms, all the way to about here, and then leave this open. At that point, I start stuffing. So it just takes the tiniest little bit. And so I stuff a little bit in the ears, a little bit in the arms, a little bit in this foot, and then go back, leave this open, come over here and start going around this side and do the same thing as I'm going to start stitching or start stuffing into the areas and go all the way up around here. So that leaves me, at that point, it leaves me open here and leaves me open here. So I can finish whatever else needs to be done, because these are very small little areas. They don't take much stuffing, and you don't really want them to be fat. You just kind of want them to be poofy but flat. So that's the next step, and I guess I'm going to do that off screen and stop here with this today, and then come back next time and show the two finished ones. And here's the little cat. This is what the little cat looks like. And he'll have a bow on his neck too. And and then this is the next one I'll do, the little mouse. He's got a candy cane. And there's a little sign right here. It's a little tag, and it says, "To cat." So he's got quite a few pieces. All these little pieces are the stripes that go on the candy cane. And I could leave those off, but I think I am not going to. I'm going to put them on there because I think it'll give it a little bit more texture, So he'll be the one after that. But the bear and the cat, I'm getting those done for January and February. And then I'll be ready to start March on the next video for this. Isn't he cute? And let's see. The bow, he works for everybody. So the other ones will be so there's a candle. Let me this up a little bit. There's a candle, a drum, here's the mouse, a bell, a teddy bear, a train, a Santa, a house, a rocking horse, a tree, a snowman, a trumpet, a cat, a wreath, and a boot. Let's see. So there's 15 here. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm not going to do the house or the train or the bell, I think. And that'll leave 12. I've done a lot of the wreaths too. They're nice, and the tree and the snowman. So anyway, that's the plan. Okay. I know the mouse is really cute, but he does take a lot of work. He's got a lot of pieces. I think he'll be cute and all white too. So that's the plan. That's the plan, man. But you can see it takes a while to do it, so I won't be doing all of it on the stream. Some of it I'll be doing separate. And hopefully next time I'll have a better view for you so you can see it better. Thanks, Josie, for sticking around. Hope you have a good day. And I know there's one more person. Tammy, might be Tammy still looking, still watching. So Tammy, if you're still here, thanks for sticking around. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.